Okay, last week we learned about clauses and finding the subject and verbs within them. This week we're going to learn the difference between main clauses and dependent clauses. Main clauses can stand on their own. They usually start with a subject or an article. Let's take a look at this sentence here. Although we watched carefully, we did not see the big black bear. Do you see a part of this sentence that starts with a subject and that could stand on its own? Is it this part, although we watched carefully? No. It is this part. We did not see the big black bear. Can that be a sentence all on its own? Yes, it can. We are going to surround our main clauses with brackets, and we will label them MC for main clause. So remember, main clauses can stand on their own. What about dependent clauses? Well, dependent clauses usually have an www.asiab word at the beginning of it, or a who-which clause. The most common are when, while, where, as, since, if, although, because, or who-which. Do we see any of these words in this part of the sentence? Although we watched carefully? Yes, although. We will put the parentheses around our dependent clauses and label them DC, because it cannot stand alone. Although we watched carefully doesn't tell us the full thing that we need to know from this sentence. So it cannot stand alone. Let's look at the next sentence. We ate our dinner because it was getting cold. All right. What part is a main clause? What could stand all by itself? We ate our dinner, or because it was getting cold? Well, we ate our dinner is our main clause because it can stand alone. I could put a period at the end of dinner and it would make complete sense. Because it was getting cold, well, because is our AsiaB word. It's right here. See? So we know that this is a dependent clause. It depends on the beginning in order to make sense. So we'll mark it with DC. All right. I like the red flowers since they remind me of my mother. All right. What could stand alone? Since they remind me of my mother, or I like the red flowers? It's the beginning. I like the red flowers. There's your main clause. And since they remind me of my mother is the dependent clause. And since is our AsiaB word. It's right here. All right. The rabbit jumped, which saved it from the dog, since it ran right past it. Now there are 3 clauses in this sentence. Which one is a main clause? The rabbit jumped, or which saved it from the dog, or since it ran right past it? Well, the rabbit jumped is the only one that would make sense if it was by itself. Which saved it from the dog has one of our who-which clauses, and since it ran right past it has one of our AsiaB words in it. Okay, now we know when to add our brackets and when to add our parentheses. There's one other thing that you need to know. If there is a prepositional phrase inside of a clause and it comes in the back of the sentence, then we include it inside of our brackets or parentheses. But if it's at the beginning, we are not going to include it. Let's take a look at this. If I put, there we go. If I put in the grass, the rabbit jumped. Comma, which saved it from the dog. Pardon my bad handwriting. Since it ran, right past it. Period. All right, we have in the grass here. In the grass is a prepositional phrase. We will not include it in our main clause. We will put our main clause right here. The rabbit jumped is still our main clause. We do not include in the grass. That is our prepositional phrase. Okay? Then, which saved it from the dog, and since it ran right past it, are both our dependent clauses still. Okay?